has trouble with the snap, and the ball is free. It's picked up by Michigan State's Jalen Watts Jackson, and he scores on the last play of the game. Unbelievable.
35, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 45. There goes Davis. Oh, my God. Davis is going to run it all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game. Auburn's going to win the football game. He ran the missed field goal.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Ian Fritts Show. Guys, wow, what a day of college football yesterday. Little side note here. I forgot to thank my sister-in-law for the microphone last episode, so shout out Courtney. Thank you for the microphone. It just slipped my mind. I forgot to mention it, so I'm sorry to you. But great feedback on the mic so far, so great things. Thank you guys for watching again. The mic, courtesy of the sister-in-law, Courtney, so thank you to her. Put it in the comments. Thanks, Courtney. And we got a little another thing here, guys, for you. A new cup. So if you're listening on just podcast exclusively, we have a nice branded mug here. So if you want one of these, just let me know. We can do that. It's going to be about $500-$600. But, if you want to support the show, that's how you can do it nowadays. But without further ado, I'm just going to get right into it, guys. I am just going to get right into the main course. It was pretty fun yesterday. Now, if you are thinking, Ian, what was fun? I have no idea what was fun yesterday. I'm sorry to you, and that's a sad life that you live. I'm sure you were maybe doing fireworks or something, but you should have been on your couch and you should have been watching the college football yesterday, because those two games that we got to watch yesterday could possibly go down as top 5, top 6 college football playoff games of all time. You have the Rose Bowl out there in Pasadena, one of the most beautiful settings in all of college football. You have one of the best uniform matchups in all of college football. You've got the two most winningest programs in college football history, the Michigan Wolverines and the Alabama Crimson Tide, going up against each other, 1 versus 4 in the greatest setting ever, the Rose Bowl. That was one of the matchups. And the other one, you have a perennial underdog. All year they've been doubted, the Washington Huskies, versus a blue blood that is finally back in the game. They're finally playing their best football, and it's their first college football playoff in their existence of the 14 playoff. Just two matchups, storylines galore. I previewed them in the preview show, and now we're going to talk about what happened in those games. However, what we get with college football, there's nothing else like it. What we get is only unique to college football. There were people yesterday at the Rose Bowl game, Ohio State fans that traveled across the country, spent thousands and thousands of dollars to go to a game and cheer for a team that they are not a fan of. They went there and cheered for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Why would they do that, Ian? Why would they go spend all their money to the Rose Bowl, other than just going to the Rose Bowl? Bucket list item for everybody, should be on yours. Well, other than going to the Rose Bowl, why would they go there? They're going there to hate a team. That's what they're going there to do. You only get that in college football. In what other realm of the world do you spend thousands of dollars to go watch something that you hate? That's what they did. That's what these people did. They went across the country and watched a team that they hate go win a football game, and now they have a chance at a national championship. In what other world are we getting the opportunity to see people go cheer for something so hard, something they hate so much, they'll spend thousands and thousands of dollars for it? In what world are we living in? That's the great world of college football, everybody. In the playoffs, they provide us that opportunity. And I think next year, well, I guess technically it's this year now, whatever. This whole thing with 2023 season, but it's the 2024 playoffs, is just absurd. We gotta hammer that down and figure that stuff out. So next year, if the playoff games happen, and this is a sidebar real quick. Next year, or this year, what am I don't even know what I'm saying. In the 2024 season, if the playoffs start in December, are they going to have 2025 college football playoff, like that little emblem on there? Is that what it's going to say? But it's in 2024? What are we doing here? We've got to get that figured out. Anyways, you've got people traveling across the country to go cheer for a team they hate, spending all their money to go cheer for a team, to go cheer against the team they hate. You only get that in college football. And then in the other game, you have Texas their first college football playoff. They're finally back. Texas fans cheering it up, giving it to OU fans. It's all over Twitter. Texas fans, look at OU. You guys suck this year. OU's the worst team in the Big 12 last year. They didn't even do anything this year other than beat us, but that's it. They lost their bowl game by 20 points or whatever to Arizona. OU's bad. Texas fans were living the life this past week, getting ready to see their team go win a semifinal game and go win a national championship. And then, if you're an OU fan, I saw a lot of them on Twitter. They were just relishing in the fact that Texas had so much hope there at the end of the game, just to have their hearts ripped out and thrown on the ground and stomped all over by the Washington Huskies. Teams with rivalries like OU and Texas, Michigan, Ohio State, fan bases of those opposing teams, Michigan and Texas, fan bases of Ohio State and OU, might have had more fun than the fan bases of Michigan themselves and Texas themselves yesterday. I mean, it is absurd what we get to watch and experience in college football. It truly is. And we get to relish in it. It's over. It's over in 5 days, 6 days from now. College football season is over. We don't get another game until August. That's why, if you weren't watching the games, go back and watch them. I can't do them justice. I can't do what the games did justice. If you didn't watch the games, you missed out on once in a lifetime 12 hours of football. Yeah, it was a good time commitment, but you get to experience history. That's what college football is. You get to experience history. Now, I'm playing it up a little bit. Maybe I am. However, one of the most pristine venues in all of college football, the Rose Bowl. In my opinion, the best venue in all of college football. Hosted one of the greatest playoff games we have ever witnessed. Michigan, Alabama, in the Rose Bowl, the greatest college football venue of all time. What happened? Now, the Rose Bowl is a place where college football fans from around the world should want to go to. They should want to go to the Rose Bowl, no matter where it is. No, we know where it is, but no matter where you are in relation to the Rose Bowl, you need to get there. You need to get there. I've never been there, but I need to get there. It's on my bucket list. I'm getting there at some point to watch a football game. It's in a picturesque stadium. I mean, it is pristine. The logo plastered on the side of the building, the mountains in the background, hundreds of thousands of fans packed in there shoulder to shoulder like sardines. It is a glorious, glorious setting. It is truly beautiful. It's spectacular. And what happened in the game yesterday was nothing short of the environment that it was in. Okay, the environment sets you up for just a spectacle of college football, and the game delivered yesterday. The game delivered. Okay, the two most winningest programs in all of college football history, Alabama, Michigan. What happened in this elite uniform matchup in an elite environment in the Rose Bowl? Okay, now you had Michigan. They won 27-20 in overtime versus the Alabama Crimson Tide. I have a few main takeaways from this game. Just a couple. I was trying to think maybe 3 is a better number than 2 main takeaways, but I kept coming back to these 2 main takeaways that I was sitting there watching this game, and this is what I came away with. Okay, this first main takeaway, overtime game, coming down to the last play, Michigan winning it, going to their first college football playoff final. Congrats, Jim Harbaugh and the Wolverines. But these were my takeaways from the game. Let me take a sip here first, podcast listeners. Show off that mug if you're watching on YouTube. Looks pretty good, though, doesn't it? This handle is nice. Nice big handle. So if you got, huge hands or something, I don't know. It's a mug that anybody can use, okay? Anyways, the 2 main takeaways from the game yesterday, from the Rose Bowl yesterday. The first one, Michigan. They are the most physical team in the entire country, okay? I said it. If you're not following on TikTok, get over there at Ian Fritts Show on TikTok. I did a little series saying which team had what was their biggest advantage in the game, what was their biggest disadvantage in the game. And my biggest advantage for Michigan in this football game was their pass rush on their D-line versus Alabama's O-line. And some people were coming at me. Did you see Alabama's offensive line versus that Georgia defensive line in the SEC championship game? And I did. I did see it. And I saw it and I thought, Georgia's defensive line has kind of underperformed all year. I wasn't overwhelmed by what Alabama's offensive line did because of because I knew Georgia's defensive line is not that great. Now, coming into this game, I was all about Michigan's defensive line. I was all about it. I was in love with what Michigan's defensive line had to offer, and I was right. I was right. Now, my prediction fell flat in the game. I thought Alabama would win, and I have to come out here and be honest with you guys. I was wrong. I was wrong. Nothing else I can say about that. I was 1 for 2 on the predictions. 50%, not horrible. A lot of people out there were 0 for 2. So I'm glad I was 1 for 2. But yes, I was wrong about the prediction. So don't come after me for that. But what I was right about was Michigan's biggest advantage in this game. And this biggest advantage for Michigan, their defensive line, proved to be the key for Michigan in this football game. Okay, from the very first drive for Alabama, Michigan lived in the backfield. Every single one of their players on the defensive line, they got linebackers involved as well. Their front seven was mauling that offensive line from Alabama. Okay, Caden Proctor, I feel bad for the guy. True freshman. He's had an up and down year. Yesterday was down. It was really down day from Mr. Proctor yesterday. He's going to be a great player. But yesterday, he's going to want to forget that game, okay? He was getting eaten alive out there by that veteran defensive line from Michigan. Every single one of those guys, they had 6 sacks. Not every single one of them had 6 sacks, but they had 6 sacks as a group. And they forced a lot more pressure. If you watched any of this game, you will know Michigan was swarming Jalen Milroe. He'd say, "Hut, do a little RPO." He keeps it. Boom. Pocket is collapsing. He's got to do Milroe-like things, which, to his credit, he did for some of that game. But a lot of that game, he couldn't do Milroe-like things because the defensive line was hounding him the entire game. They were back there just left, right, center, coming down the Alabama offensive line's throat. Like I said, like I predicted, that was the biggest advantage for Michigan going into the game, and it proved to be the biggest advantage in the entire football game. That's how good their defensive line is. Now, it wasn't just their defensive line that made me think Michigan's the most physical team in the entire country. Now, this was a statement that everybody has thought the entire year, but Alabama game just proved it to me even more, okay? Their defensive line dominated that Alabama offensive line. Michigan's offensive line, particularly in the run game, dominated Alabama's defensive line, okay? They were blowing. Now, Alabama's defensive line, you win some reps out there. I'm not saying the entire game, every single snap, Michigan's deep offensive line is creating 5-6 yards of push on the offensive line. I'm not saying that. Not every snap. But for the most part of this game, go watch this game. Michigan's offensive line bullied Alabama's defensive line. They were, here and there, like I just said, here and there. Alabama's defensive line got theirs. That happens. And it's a football game. That'll happen. But for the most part, those big boys up front for Michigan, just like they've been the last 3-4 years, the best offensive line in the country, they proved what their worth is in this game. Blowing guys off the ball, particularly in the second overtime, it takes them 2 plays to score. Why? Because they created a hole so big for Blake Corum. They created a hole so big, you fit 3-4 semi-trucks through there. Just drive them through there. That's how big that hole was. And Blake Corum does what he does. Great running back there. Does what he does. Goes through the hole, bounces it outside, just runs to the end zone. Incredible stuff from Michigan in the trenches. It's going to be something that I will look forward to. Michigan's going up against the Joe Moore offensive line award winners in the championship game in Washington in 5-6 days' time. So that is going to be a matchup that everybody should be looking forward to. I think Michigan has cemented themselves as the best defensive line in the country with what they just did to Alabama's offensive line. I think it's them right now, and they're going to go up against the best offensive line unit in the country in Washington. So that will be fun to look forward to. So the first biggest takeaway, Michigan proved themselves time and again, especially yesterday. They're the most physical team in the country. They're going to take that into the national championship. And historically, the team that's more physical, at least the last 10, 15 years, the more physical team in the trenches, offensively and defensively, LSU 2019, eliminate them. Other than that, every other team that's won a natty, they've been the most physical team, offensive line, defensive line. So watch out for that for Michigan. in the national championship game. I'll have the preview show a little later this week, probably Friday, maybe Saturday. Okay, second biggest takeaway from the Michigan-Alabama Rose Bowl. And this one hurts a little bit. This one hurts a little bit for me because, we're prideful people, us humans, and I was wrong again. J.J. McCarthy continues to prove me wrong. J.J. McCarthy was the better quarterback yesterday, and I don't know if it was particularly close, okay? Got to take a sip because I'm a little sad that I'm saying that. I'm not sad for that JJ's that good. I'm sad because I've been proved wrong once again, and I don't like being proven wrong. Once again, J.J. McCarthy, he heard the show, and he was like, I'm going to prove that Ian Fritts guy wrong. I'm going to show him who's boss. I'm going to show him what I'm made of. I'm going to show him why I was a 5-star coming out of high school. I'm going to show him why I was recruited by every school in the country, and I'm going to show him why I'm the best Michigan quarterback of all time. Now, if you know anything about the college football world, that was a quote that Jim Harbaugh said after the game. I'm not sure I agree with him saying J.J. McCarthy is the best Michigan quarterback of all time. There's a little guy named Thomas Brady. You guys may know him as the GOAT quarterback of all time in the NFL. Now, what Jim Harbaugh, I think he was getting at was J.J. has only lost one game as a Michigan Wolverine. It was last year in the college football playoff semifinal, as a starter, that is. So with that being said, yeah, he has a case for best Michigan quarterback of all time because he's lost one game as a starter. Third best winning percentage as a starting quarterback in college football history. Okay, so he definitely has a case for best Michigan quarterback of all time. I'm not ready to go there yet, but again, I continue to doubt J.J. McCarthy, so maybe he is the best Michigan quarterback of all time. I don't know. I continue to doubt him. He proved me wrong and a lot of the country wrong again yesterday. Now, he didn't light it up for 450 yards passing and 6 touchdowns. Tough to do against the Alabama coach defense, but what he did do was he took care of the football, took what was given to him, ran when he had the opportunity to, and he threw the throws in crunch time that mattered. You do those 4 things as a quarterback in college football, especially against an Alabama defense, you're going to be pretty successful. Now, the first drive happened, and I thought, J.J. McCarthy, this is the guy that I thought he was. He threw it right to Caleb Downs, interception. This game is over from the get-go, okay? That's what I thought. And sure enough, got bailed out by a heel on the out-of-bounds line. That happens. It's a game of inches. College football is. After that, J.J. McCarthy clinically picked apart the Alabama defense, okay? The play calling from Michigan, Sharon Moore, credit to that guy. One of the best called games offensively from Michigan all year. He kept calling shallow crossers with a post behind him. Alabama's secondary, who I thought was, coming into the game, I thought that was Alabama's biggest advantage. I was kind of wrong. Not because they got beat in one-on-ones. They just got confused by what Sharon Moore and the Michigan offense and J.J. McCarthy were able to do to them. They weren't following their guy across the formation. They were getting confused. That's what it was. It was flat-out confusion from the Alabama secondary and the linebackers in pass coverage. That's what it was. I thought that was going to be a strength from Alabama. I thought they were going to have to just all out stop the run. I thought the secondary, the back end was going to be fine in pass coverage. I was wrong. Michigan exploited that. They confused them. They threw so many different looks at him, so many different motions at him, and it confused the entire Alabama defense. It was baffling to watch. I don't think I've seen an Alabama team like that since they played that 2019 LSU team. But that was everybody who played that 2019 LSU team was confused. So we can't just say this is the worst that pass defense has looked in a while. But they were confused by Michigan pass offense. Everybody's talking about their run offense, which give them their due. They bullied Alabama defensively, but the ability for J.J. McCarthy and Sharon Moore to come in there with a game plan like that and execute it against one of the best defenses in all of college football, that's where I walk away from the game thinking Michigan doesn't just run it down your throat. They can throw the football. They're not going to do it as their first option. That's not them. But they can do it, and they can do it extremely well. They just went up against what I thought was the best secondary in all of college football, and they exploited them. They did. It's that simple. Not beating them in one-on-ones, but they exploited them schematically. Out-coached is what happened in this football game. Something I never thought I would say. Something I never thought I'd say against a Michigan or a Jim Harbaugh-led team versus a Nick Saban-led team. But that's what happened. It was an out-coached Alabama team out there yesterday. Crazy statement, crazy thing to say, you might say. But I'm right. You watch that football game, Alabama, Nick Saban, everybody on that staff got out-coached by Jim Harbaugh, Sharon Moore, everybody on the Michigan staff. Connor Stallion's joke, insert it there. I don't care. If Michigan wins, you can get rid of the cheating, whatever. Doesn't matter. They won a national championship if they win in 6 days' time. Now, this game, the Rose Bowl, instant classic. You're saying this is a top five college football playoff game of all time. No chance the game following it beats it. No chance the game following it is a better game than what we just watched. Michigan driving down the field, tying the game with a couple minutes left in the game before regulation, then winning it with a 20-yard touchdown run in overtime. No chance. No chance. The game came down to the last play. No chance the Washington Texas Sugar Bowl beats what we just watched in the Rose Bowl. No chance. Fast forward to the Sugar Bowl. I think the Sugar Bowl ended up being the more exciting game than the Rose Bowl. Now, if you didn't watch the game, or if you went to bed during the game, you might disagree with me. Now, I watched from the beginning, from kickoff to the very last play. I watched every second of both games. The Sugar Bowl was more exciting. Start to finish, it was a more exciting, more entertaining football game. Now, that may be because you have Michael Penix just sitting back there, just dicing up the Texas secondary. I mean, a lot of these plays were great coverage by the Texas secondary. Before I get into the game, if you don't know, Washington won 37-31. The game came down to the last play, just like the Rose Bowl. But it just had a little more to it. It had a little more to it because of how we got there. Now, in the preview show, I said this Washington-Texas game was going to go down as the most exciting, best college football playoff game of all time. Now, in my opinion, I think I was wrong there. I don't think it ended up being the most exciting, best college football playoff game of all time. I still think that's OU Georgia from 2018. However, it still delivered. I still think it's top 5 college football playoff game of all time. This game delivered, hands down, absolutely incredible football game. Okay? Now, it delivered for all the reasons I thought it would. Points, entertaining football, points, you're just getting a bunch of points. Okay? That's entertaining. Everybody knows that's entertaining. That's why I thought this game was going to deliver. And it did, but it didn't deliver the points in the way that I thought it would. I thought it was going to be the entire game back and forth battle. We're just scoring, you score. We score, you score. We score, you score. That's what I thought it was going to be. And for the first half, that's exactly what it was. I was like, this is shaping up to be exactly what I said it was going to be. 21-21, going into the halftime. You had Michael Penix Jr. sitting back there. He is threading needles. He is dropping 65-yard bombs into a breadbasket. His receivers don't even have to break stride. That's how good Michael Penix was yesterday. It was incredible. I mean, some of these throws, he amazed me yesterday, guys. It is absolutely baffling how he gets the ball into the spot. You watch him throw the ball and you think, ugh. You think, ugh. No way this guy's getting the ball in the right spot. Fast forward to where the ball ends up and you're thinking, who threw that? It wasn't the guy that I just saw. It was. It was that guy with that ugly motion. Doesn't matter. His motion gets it done, and his motion gets it done in the exact right spot. So many throws yesterday by Michael Penix Jr. that just landed in the. You couldn't have walked down there, handed it to the receiver, and said, "Where do you want the ball? Where is the best place for me to put this?" And they would put it exactly where Michael Penix threw the ball. That's how good he was yesterday. 21. Somehow it was 21-21 going into halftime. A turnover inside your own territory off a muff punt will do that to you if you're Washington. But we go into halftime, 21-21, all knotted up, exciting, very exciting football game. This was going. Yeah, I'm thinking this is it. This is it. We're going to get the greatest college football playoff game of all time. Then the third quarter happens, and Washington outscores Texas 10-0, and I'm thinking, woo, Washington just absolutely dominated that quarter. And they did. They stuck it to Texas. They took it to them. Texas had the ball for, I believe, 3 minutes. They ran 8 plays or something like that in the third quarter. 8 plays, 3 minutes, in 15-minute quarters. You have the ball for 3 minutes. Yeah, that's not going to get it done, especially not against a team of high caliber like Washington, okay? And credit to Washington. That was their game plan. You think fast offense, throw the ball down the field. You think they're not on the field for very long. Washington had the ball for 37 minutes. Texas had it for 23 minutes. Washington gets the ball, and they do not give it back. They do not give you the ball back. You think because of how fast they score and how fast they are looking, you think they never win time of possession. But they throw those 50-yard bombs, and then they take 3 minutes to go to the next play. It's incredible to watch, incredible game planning by Washington and that staff. It is awesome to watch. Okay, so Washington outscores them 10-0 in the third quarter. They extend the lead later in the third quarter, or later in the fourth quarter, to 13-0. And I'm thinking, man, I missed on this game. Not going to be the greatest college football playoff game of all time. It ended up not being, but it was still exciting. Fast forward, Texas marches down the field, gets it to a 6-point game. And I think, whoa, okay, all right. About 5-6 minutes left in the football game. This is going to be something. This is going to be something. And then Washington marches right back down the field. 3 minutes left, kicks a field goal, and they extend it to 9. And you think 3 minutes left, no chance for Texas. There's no hope left for Texas. It's over. We get Washington versus Michigan. Exciting matchup. One's an M, one's a W. You could flip them in versus of each other, if you get what I'm saying. That's interesting. Nobody's talking about that. And next thing you know, Texas marches down the field, kicks a field goal. It's a 6-point game with a minute and 30 seconds left or whatever it was. And you think, whoa, how did we end up having an onside kick to decide this game? How did that happen? And it happened for a lot of errors on the Washington coaching staff side, a lot of mismanagement of the game. But it doesn't matter. We get here, we have an onside kick to decide this football game. If Washington recovers, game's over, right? You would think, no, you'd be wrong. Somehow you're wrong. Washington recovers that onside kick. I'm thinking, game over. Wow, that was a lot more exciting coming down the stretch than I thought. And it delivered. Not better than the Rose Bowl, but it delivered. And then that series of events unfolded. Washington has the ball 1st and 10 at the 45-yard line of Texas. A minute 20-something left in the game. All they got to do, take 3 knees, punt the ball back to Texas. There's 14 seconds left on the clock. Okay, seems pretty simple. No, you'd be wrong. Washington runs it for a yard, runs it again for a yard, and then on 3rd down, they run it again for a yard. Now, the concept is similar to the knees, except running the ball increases chance for fumble, injury. That's mainly it. Injury and fumble. I mean, you don't want either of those things, and one of those things happened. They ran the ball, star running back, Dylan Johnson, up the middle. What happens? He gets injured. And I'm thinking about, what is happening? How is Washington? Kneel the ball. Kneel the ball, Washington. You kneel the ball, you win the football game. You walk out of there with a win. I'm having flashbacks to Miami versus Georgia Tech earlier in the year, where Mario Cristobal's out there. He runs the ball. Georgia Tech gets the ball. They go down the field and win the game. I'm having flashbacks. It's like a war zone out there in my mind. Thinking, what is happening? Kneel the ball, you win the football game. You win the football game. Next thing you know, Dylan Johnson's lying on the ground, holding his leg. Injury timeout. The clock stops with 48 seconds left in the game. It would have gone down to 14, guys. 14. 40-second difference. 40-second difference. Because you ran the ball instead of took a knee. Now, Washington punts the ball back to Texas, and you think, there's no chance. They gotta go 85 yards into the end zone, try and score a touchdown. 45 seconds left, no timeouts. There's zero chance. No hope. I mean, there's a little bit of hope, but is there really? There's no chance. A couple plays later, Quinn Ewers throws a bomb to Jordan Whittington, about 50, 60 yards down the field. And next thing you know, Texas has the ball at the 25-yard line of Washington with 25 seconds left in the game. And I'm sitting there. I'm thinking, What happened? 25 seconds ago, 2-3 minutes ago in real time, in real life time, not game time, Washington had this thing. They had this thing in a little bow, neat little present. They were giving themselves national championship game. And then Texas came in there, took that present, threw it out the window, and now they have the ball at the 25-yard line, 30 seconds left, with a chance to win the football game. What? I'm honestly dumbfounded. I even last night I couldn't even think of the words to say with what I was watching, what I was witnessing. Now, a couple plays later, Texas gets the ball down to the 12-yard line. There's 15 seconds left in the game. All they have to do is score. You basically win the game. If you can kick an extra point, you win the football game. You're going to a national championship. If Texas scores with those 12 seconds left, if they do it, it goes down as the greatest college football playoff game of all time. The prediction comes true. If they don't, it goes down as one of the best college football playoff games of all time. So those are the two things I'm balancing. I'm thinking, well, hey, do I want them to score? My prediction comes true. It's the greatest college football playoff game of all time. Next thing you know, Sarkisian is running some interesting play calls down there. Some interesting stuff is happening. And Texas gets the ball. 1 play left. 1 second left. The game is on. It comes down literally the last second. You can't make this stuff up. No other place, no other sport, no other TV show is coming up with this stuff. This is real life college football, guys. This is what I said in the intro. This is college football. The most exciting sport in all of the world. Maybe the World Cup. Comes down to the last second. 1 second. Quinn Ewers. He's getting pressured. Throws the ball up. Lobs it up there. A.D. Mitchell. Great guy to throw to. Guy scored in every college football playoff game he's ever played in. You see Washington DB flies in there like a freaking eagle. Flies up there. Swats this ball down. Washington wins. Came down to the last second, the last play. Just on the edge of your seat is where you were, hopefully. And if you weren't, if you were asleep, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to you. I'm sorry for your decision making because it was incorrect. Bad decision making on your part. Wow. I'm getting hyped up just thinking about that game again. I want to go watch it again. I want to experience those emotions again. No other thing in the world can do that to you other than college football. That's how good it is. That's what we are gifted year in and year out with college football. Now, this sets up the Michigan Wolverines, the most physical team in the country, versus the Washington Huskies, the most doubted team in the country. I can't think of a better matchup. I can't think of a better game to watch. Michigan, ground and pound. Washington, high flying, just throw it down the field. Michael Penix, best quarterback in the country, maybe. He's definitely placing the ball in the best spots right now. How is this game going to go down? You better tune into the preview show coming out Friday, maybe Thursday, maybe Saturday. It's coming out later this week. Follow on YouTube, follow on Spotify, follow on TikTok. I'll put it out there. Make sure you guys watch the preview show for the national championship later this week. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe on all of those platforms. We have some good stuff coming here at the Ian Fritts Show. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Whoa, he has trouble with the snap, and the ball is free. It's picked up by Michigan State's Jalen Jackson, and he scores on the last play of the game. Unbelievable.
35, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 45. There goes Davis. Oh, my God. Davis is going to run it all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game.